Hey everyone, Mr. Sugeno here. In today's video, I'm going to go over a Kickstarter that I recently discovered called the All Controller. So in this video, I'm going to give you a high-level overview of the product as well as my initial thoughts. Let's get started. Alright, so what it looks like they're going for here is a universal controller that works with all systems, is fully customizable, and replaces the need for multiple types of controllers. This will be a all-in-one stop, and it will be hopefully for them all-encompassing. So before we go into details here, let's look at the high-level specs of this project. It is called the All Controller Universal and Fully Customizable, the world's first universal and fully customizable game controller. They have currently reached, at the time of this video, $159,830 pledged of their $75,000 initial goal. So they have smashed that initial goal that they've gone for by over double. So that's pretty awesome. Now there are 1,208 backers as well as 38 days left to go. So there's still ample time left in order to get even more backing on this project. Alright, so let's look more down at the details here. So the controller itself looks pretty cool. It says it's got 40 hours of constant playing, USB, Bluetooth, and wireless dongle, ergonomic back paddles, multi-platform compatibility, mouse and keyboard mode, button mapping and macros, time-sensitive button combinations. So it's kind of neat. There's an LCD screen right there that looks awesome. It looks like it's going to be a smart controller if that makes sense. So this isn't just going to be a simple controller. It looks fairly advanced. You can see X input mode there on the top. It's going to tell you battery life, I guess connection strength. That's pretty cool. So on the surface, this actually looks like a pretty darn cool controller. So this kind of reminds me initially, despite the button placement and stuff, of a Xbox One Elite controller in terms of customizability. We'll scroll down here and you can see what I'm talking about. So right here there's the button mapping and adjustable joystick dead zone, adjustable joystick sensitivity. So for example, with the Xbox One Pro controller, you can adjust that stuff while using the Xbox One itself. However, this controller has just that built in and you adjust it right there on the controller. So that's actually really cool and really innovative in my opinion. And honestly, that seems like a very, very smart decision, so you don't have to worry about depending on an app and getting it connected and then trying to configure it. You just set it all up in the controller here, which might eliminate some headaches. Alright, so now looking at these price points, $25 gets you a t-shirt, $55 early bird price gets you a wired all controller, $65 after that early bird tier is gone gets you the wired all controller, $80 gets you the wireless all controller. So first and foremost, if you plan on using this with your Android or iPhone, you'd probably want to go the route of wireless, just so you can take it around and make it a portable unit as opposed to the wired all controller. And right now I'm not recommending or going against kickstarting this project. I'm just saying, based on these price points, if you have a portable device, you're probably going to need to go wireless. Looking here, $100 gets you the wired controller and dongle, $110 gets you the wireless and cell phone holder. That's kind of cool. $120 gets you the wireless and USB dongle, and $150 gets you the wireless all controller, USB dongle, and a cell phone holder. So, a recap of the prices here. The difference between a wired and wireless controller is $15. And the cell phone holder looks like it is a $30 uptick from the $120 package. So if I were to back any of these tiers, I would probably look at, well, I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. if you're trying to use it with consoles, looks like you're going to need a dongle, so you'll probably need a package with a dongle. If you are planning on just using this as a portable controller, then you will need the cell phone holder. So it all comes down, I guess, to your personal preference. But looking right here, Xbox 360 in one, and PS3 and PS4 do need a dongle. So that being said, you'll probably have to look at these more expensive tiers unless you want to use it with PC only. Alright, now let's look at these stretch goals. $300,000, it unlocks the motion controls. $400,000 unlocks the Xbox controller layout option. That's actually kind of cool. 1 million gets a memory expansion for more profiles. Now 1.5 million is all controller color options, so instead of just the black. And the 2.5 million unlocks a bigger battery. So they double the size of the battery if they hit that tier. Those are actually pretty cool goals. Hopefully they can make some of them. I honestly think at this time they might make the motion control tier, maybe if they're lucky, the Xbox controller layout option. I think it's a bit of a stretch for them to get over the $400,000 tier, but again, there's plenty of time to go, and they seem to be pretty successful so far, so maybe they will get to those high level tiers. Now looking at this project timeline, the Kickstarter itself the campaign itself ends September 1st, then they go into development, and shipping begins, which apparently takes 3 weeks at April 25th. I'm assuming that's 2018. So if you were to kickstart this project, it looks like the controller would potentially be in your hands by June maybe of 2018, my guess. That's actually not too bad. That's just under a year. And if they've already got their prototypes and stuff done, then it hopefully shouldn't take too long. Alright, now I'm going to go up to this video. I'm going to put it on mute because there are a few things that I want to point out. So right now they're just talking about the controllers that's going to replace. Obviously not a fidget spinner. Keyboard. Here we go. So I'm looking at this and there are a few things I'm noticing right away. First and foremost, I think ergonomics might, again, it's hard to tell without this controller actually in my hands, ergonomics looks like it might be a bit of an issue. And I'm saying that because the far right button here looks like it's partially down the side of the controller. It's a little weird to me, but that's the way it looks. These thumbsticks look very close to the buttons themselves, as well as the D-pad, and just the general shape of the controller looks a little crammed. So I'm just going to wait until it shows someone holding the controller, and you might be able to see that a little more. Alright, so I'm going to show you what I mean here about the ergonomics of the controller. In this short clip, it's just a couple seconds long, but you'll see what I mean. The control sticks themselves look like they're a little close to the buttons, and they might be getting in the way. You can see right here the person is hitting one of the buttons and their thumb is actually arcing over the control stick itself, the right control stick. So it looks like it's crammed a little bit close together. Maybe you can see a little bit here. I'll pause it again. You can see on the left hand that the control stick is extremely close to the D-pad, and it looks like it could be very easy to nudge the control stick while using the D-pad. These buttons here look again really close to the right control stick, and the controller itself looks a little awkward to hold. So the left control stick is moved towards the right, and the right control stick is also moved towards the right. Now I'm wondering if the left control stick was right and the right control stick was moved left in a kind of a cross motion, if your thumbs would hit each other. It looks like they might, based on this controller design and based on just this image right here. Yeah, so I'm going to reverse this just a little bit here. See if I can pause it right at the right moment. I probably won't be. but you can see how close their fingers are, their thumbs are at this point. So I think that might be a bit of an issue, maybe unless you hold the controller differently, but it looks like you might be very easily to bump your thumbs. So here's someone else using the controller, and by the looks of it, if you use the control sticks that way, they won't necessarily interfere and your thumbs won't touch each other. They do look like very similar to Xbox 360 control sticks. I think that's about it when it comes down to the video that I wanted to look at. So overall on this Kickstarter, I liked some things about it, and I also don't like some things about it. So we'll start with the negative so we can end on a positive note. First and foremost, I am very concerned about the ergonomics of the overall controller. I think the buttons might be too close to the control stick. I think the controller is a little crammed together, and I think that the control sticks are also placed too close together. The second concern I have with this, and I'll scroll down and I'll show you what I mean. This dongle itself. So it will work on the PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One, but in my personal experience with these types of dongles, they will require firmware updates when these systems have updates themselves. And I will say this because I'll show you a perfect example. Brook. So Brook is a company that makes different types of converters. You can see, for example, PS3 and PS4 converter to a Switch, so Nintendo Switch converter, Xbox 360 to Xbox One Switch, to Switch converter. All of these converters have firmware updates to them. So when there is a revision or an update to the system, sometimes these converters need an update so that they don't break, so that they continue to work with the system. So Brook is very good at producing these types of updates, whereas I'm a little concerned because this team will have to be on the ball, continually producing updates for firmware for their dongle and their controllers too. Now, this might not be an issue if it is a successful Kickstarter and they plan to continue to sell these over the shelf. Then I see that there might not actually be an issue at all here. So that's why it is the second thing and not the very first thing. The very first thing I have an issue with looks like it might be the overall ergonomics. And then again, I will say there's a giant star there too because I do not have one of these controllers to actually hold. So the things I like about these controllers, and we'll end on that. First and foremost, it is a very intelligent controller. So it does have software built in. There is an LCD screen. You can configure different aspects about the controller right within the controller itself. You can change modes on the controller. It tells you battery life. That part itself is amazing. The second thing I really like is that it works with a variety of systems. So if this is a solid controller, the ergonomics are good, the buttons are good, then it is actually an amazing thing that they're releasing because you can take it with you, play it on whatever. So you can go to a buddy's house, it doesn't matter what system they have, or if they have a computer, you can just use your controller. You can take it wherever you need it if you pair it to your smartphone. That part I'm actually really excited about. So overall, I think the pros might outweigh the cons, especially looking at the price point because this isn't a $200, $300, $400 controller. It's very modestly priced at a $65 for the wired or $80 for the wireless. So overall, I think this is a pretty cool Kickstarter. I'm a little worried about ergonomics, but at the same time, it might actually not be an issue considering the price point isn't all that high. So take what you will. I'm not going to recommend to back it. I'm not going to recommend not to back it. I think it's actually a pretty cool thing that's here. Hopefully it's successful. Hopefully it's really good. That's all I've got for today. Thank you, everyone. Take care.